Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're exploring the 6 most valuable and expensive United States rare Roosevelt dimes. Some of them are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. These dimes has a story that makes it stand out in the world of coin collecting. These Roosevelt dimes could turn spare change into a real treasure. Stay tuned as we uncover the top 6 you'll definitely want to know about. First up, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and surprisingly valuable coins in modern American numismatics, the 1979 Roosevelt dime with the Denver D mint mark. This coin may not seem extraordinary. In fact, millions of these dimes were struck for everyday circulation, and most of them still exist in change jars, drawers, or collections in average worn condition. But hidden among those countless examples are certain pieces that, because of their condition, rarity, and collector demand, have become highly sought after and can command significant premiums in today's coin market. And even when discovered in dirty or worn states, these coins still tell a remarkable story about American coinage history and the enduring popularity of the Roosevelt dime series. To understand why the 1979 D dime holds collector appeal, we need to look at the historical and minting background of the period. The year 1979 was part of an era of massive coin production by the U.S. Mint. Inflation was on the rise, and the demand for circulating coinage was strong across the nation. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of dimes in 1979 to meet that need, making the coin seem common on the surface. Yet despite this abundance, it's the smaller details like high-grade survivors, minting anomalies, and unusual preservation that make specific 1979 D dimes stand out from the crowd. Even in dirty or circulated condition, these dimes reflect the economic climate of late 1970s America and remind us of how coinage production played a vital role in everyday commerce. Looking closer, the Roosevelt dime design itself adds another layer of interest. On the obverse, we see the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, first introduced in 1946 to honor his legacy after his passing the previous year. His profile is sharply detailed, with the word liberty to the left and the national motto, "In God We Trust," below. The year 1979 appears to the right, and just above the date rests the D mint mark, signaling production at the Denver facility. Turning to the reverse, we find the familiar torch flanked by olive and oak branches, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Encircling these elements is the inscription, "United States of America," and 1 dime, along with the motto, "E pluribus unum." While the design remained unchanged from its introduction, variations in strike sharpness, luster, and preservation make certain examples far more collectible than others. Rarity is where things get particularly interesting. On paper, the 1979 D dime is not scarce, with over 390 million pieces minted. However, very few survive in pristine condition, with sharp strikes, brilliant luster, and minimal wear. Coins that have been heavily circulated or left in dirty condition are common, but those preserved with near-perfect surfaces are exceptionally elusive. Collectors often underestimate the challenge of finding superb gem-quality examples from this date, especially with a full strike and without marks on Roosevelt's cheek or jawline. In addition, certain minting errors like off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet flaws add another layer of rarity and excitement, making those coins highly valuable when discovered. So, why does this coin stand out in the Roosevelt dime series? The answer lies in both condition rarity and growing collector interest. While earlier silver dimes from the 1940s through 1964 get most of the attention, later copper-nickel clad issues like the 1979 D are beginning to see increased demand as collectors recognize how few high-end survivors truly exist. When it comes to value, the numbers may surprise you. In heavily circulated and dirty condition, a 1979 D dime is still worth its face value of 10 cents. However, collectors will pay modest premiums for lightly circulated pieces, typically in the range of $1,000 to $1,800 depending on eye appeal. Once you step into higher grades, the value begins to climb sharply. A Mint State example graded MS-65 can sell for $2,000 to $3,000, while an MS-66 commands closer to $4,000 to $6,000. The real jump comes at MS-67, where prices can soar into $8,000 to $10,000 because of the scarcity of flawless examples. At the top end, a few near-perfect specimens have been auctioned for over $15,000, highlighting just how valuable this coin can become when condition rarity comes into play. In conclusion, the 1979 D Roosevelt Dime is far more than a common pocket change coin. Its history, design, condition rarity, and rising collector demand all contribute to its status as one of the more desirable clad dimes of the modern era. While most pieces are worth face value, high-grade survivors have proven that they can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars in today's market. This blend of accessibility and hidden rarity makes the coin appealing to both new collectors and seasoned numismatists alike. And as always, this coin is just one part of a much larger story. In our next video, we'll explore another fascinating U.S. coin that has captured the attention of collectors and continues to command strong premiums at auction. So stay tuned if you want to uncover more hidden treasures in American coinage history. And secondly, we're talking about the most valuable and ultra-rare United States, the 1984 Roosevelt Dime with the Philadelphia P mint mark, a coin that proves condition is absolutely everything in the world of numismatics. Most people would simply overlook a common-looking dime from the 1980s, but under the right circumstances, this particular piece can be worth a staggering amount of money. Now, at first glance, the idea of a 1984 dime being valuable seems almost laughable. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 856 million of these coins that year, a number so vast that finding one in your change is virtually guaranteed. So what makes a coin from such an enormous mintage so collectible? The answer lies not in its date or mint mark, but entirely in its physical state and a specific dramatic error that occurred during its striking. This coin is sought not because it is rare in number, but because it is exceptionally rare to find it exhibiting a very particular and severe form of mint-made damage that collectors prize above almost all else. It transforms an ordinary piece of currency into a numismatic superstar. To understand the context of the 1984 P dime, we have to look at the mint's operations during that period. The early to mid-1980s were a time of high production, aiming to meet the demands of a growing economy. Coins were churned out by the billions, and quality control, while generally good, was not infallible. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the absence of a mint mark on dimes during this era, a practice that lasted from 1965 to 1979, and then, curiously, continued after 1980, was the primary workhorse. This period saw the use of high-speed presses that could occasionally malfunction in dramatic ways, setting the stage for the creation of the era we are discussing. It was a factory environment, and sometimes the factory produced a flawed product that escaped into the wild. The design of the Roosevelt dime is familiar to all Americans. The obverse, or heads side, features the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a design by John R. Sinnock that was introduced in 1946, shortly after Roosevelt's death. The reverse depicts a torch, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. The unique feature on the 1984 P dime that commands such a premium is not part of the original design, but a result of a major minting catastrophe. We are referring to a coin that was struck through a grease-filled die, but not just any light greasing. This is an extreme case where a massive glob of grease mixed with metal shavings and other pressed debris caked onto the die, completely obliterating the device's details. The result is a coin that appears very dirty, but this dirtiness is actually a permanent raised metal feature that blocks the strike, creating a bizarre and highly sought-after error.
The rarity of this specific 1984 P dime in this very dirty condition cannot be overstated. While millions were made, the number that exhibits such a profound and visually dramatic grease-filled die air is minuscule. Most coins with minor grease strikes are only worth a small premium. However, the example we are discussing is at the extreme end of the spectrum. Survival in this state is a matter of chance. These coins entered circulation and were subjected to wear and tear. Finding one today that has not been cleaned, damaged, or otherwise altered by its journey through commerce is the true challenge for collectors. The vast majority of these heirs were likely spent without a second thought, lost to time, making a high-grade, problem-free specimen of this major heir a genuine numismatic treasure. When it comes to collector demand, this dime stands out, not within a series of key dates, but as a premier example of a dramatic mint error. Heir collecting is a passionate niche within numismatics, and coins like this are the crown jewels. It stands out precisely because it is so counterintuitive. It is a common coin made spectacularly uncommon by a factory mistake. The demand is driven by specialists who seek to assemble sets of the most significant heirs, and a piece this visually striking from a modern era is incredibly desirable. It's the kind of coin that becomes the centerpiece of an advanced era collection, a conversation starter that demonstrates a deep understanding of the minting process and what can go wrong. So what is this coin worth in today's market? For a standard circulation strike 1984 P dime in average condition, the value is exactly 10 cents. However, for a specimen exhibiting this extreme level of grease-filled die air, the market value is a different story entirely. Depending on the severity of the error and the overall state of preservation, prices can range significantly. A clearly noticeable grease error might bring $20 to $50. But for a coin described as very dirty, where the obverse details are almost completely obscured by the grease strike, values can skyrocket. In certified mint state condition by a top-tier grading service like PCGS or NGC, such a coin can command prices from $1,000 to over $3,000 in today's market. The record prices are achieved for those coins where the air is so complete, it creates a bizarre, smooth, blob-like appearance on the coin surface, making it unmistakable and incredibly rare. For collectors interested in the hunt, your strategy must be meticulous. Focus relentlessly on condition and originality. Look for a coin that has not been cleaned or tampered with. The surfaces should be natural, even with the air. Certification by NGC or PCGS is almost mandatory for a coin of this value, as it guarantees the air is genuine and the coin is free of alterations. When searching, do not just look through rolls of dimes hoping to find one. The odds are astronomically against you. Your best bet is to monitor major coin auctions, reputable heir coin dealers, and numismatic marketplaces. Be prepared for a significant investment, as quality examples rarely appear for sale and are fiercely contested when they do. In conclusion, the 1984 P Roosevelt dime in this specific, very dirty error state is a testament to the fact that rarity in coin collecting is not always about low mintage. It is about the unique convergence of a massive production run, a dramatic minting mistake, and survival in a collectible condition. It appeals to new collectors because of its modern date and the thrilling possibility, however slim, of finding a fortune in everyday change, and it captivates seasoned collectors with its stark illustration of minting imperfection and its significant value. It is a coin that commands respect and a high price for a very good reason.
And thirdly, we're diving into one of the most surprising and overlooked treasures in American coin collecting. The 1967 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark, found in a very dirty and circulated condition. At first glance, it may look like nothing more than a pocket change relic, but the truth is that this particular dime carries an extraordinary story of value, history, and scarcity that has made it a centerpiece of fascination among numismatists. In this video, we'll explore its origins, the details of its design, what makes it rare, how much it's worth today, and why collectors everywhere still seek it out. Stick with me until the end, because we'll also reveal a hint about the next coin in this series that you won't want to miss. The 1967 Roosevelt dime emerged during a turbulent moment in U.S. coinage history. Just 2 years earlier, in 1965, silver was removed from circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars due to rising costs and a nationwide coin shortage. The 1967 dime was therefore struck in a clad composition of copper and nickel, representing a new era for everyday coinage in America. Adding to the uniqueness, no mint marks were used from 1965 through 1967, regardless of where the coins were struck. This was a deliberate move by the U.S. Mint to discourage collectors from hoarding coins based on mint location during a time when demand far outstripped supply. As a result, every Roosevelt dime from 1967 carries no mint mark, making it a product of its historic context and a transitional period in American coinage. The design itself preserves the dignity and legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away in 1945 and was honored on the dime beginning in 1946. The obverse shows his left-facing profile surrounded by the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date 1967. On the reverse, the torch of liberty is flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing peace and strength, with the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and One Dime. While these features are standard across Roosevelt dimes, what makes the 1967 issue intriguing is how details often appear worn, blurred, or muddied when found in dirty, heavily circulated condition, creating a rugged charm that speaks to its journey through decades of commerce. Rarity plays a large role in the appeal of this coin. While the overall mintage of 1967 dimes was high, survival in pristine or collectible condition is limited, especially when considering how many were lost, melted, or damaged over time. Most examples you'll find today are dirty and worn with scratches, discoloration, or even environmental damage. Yet these rough survivors tell a story and can still command attention if they retain sharp details beneath the dirt. The scarcity of well-preserved coins in higher grades, paired with the transitional history of this time, elevates its importance despite its seemingly common appearance. Collectors continue to be drawn to the 1967 Roosevelt dime for several reasons. First, it represents the bridge between silver coinage and modern clad coinage, embodying a turning point in American money. Second, it is one of the few years where mint marks were deliberately omitted, a choice that makes it stand out from nearly every other year of the Roosevelt dime series. And third, the coin's longevity and circulation, often found heavily worn or dirty, adds to its nostalgic and historical appeal. Unlike wheat pennies, which had an iconic design and a separate fan base, the Roosevelt dime has become an understated yet essential part of U.S. coinage history, with the 1967 no-mintmark variety shining as a key example. When it comes to value, this dime surprises many collectors. A standard 1967 dime in extremely worn condition might only be worth its face value, but in collectible condition, prices rise quickly. For example, in lightly circulated condition, they can fetch anywhere between $1 and $5. In higher grades, such as mint state examples, values range from $15 to $100, depending on the quality of strike, luster, and preservation. Rare error varieties, such as off-center strikes or coins with dramatic misalignments, can sell for hundreds of dollars, with the highest quality certified examples reaching into the thousands. For a coin that most people still overlook and change, its market potential remains both surprising and significant. For collectors seeking to add the 1967 Roosevelt dime to their collection, condition is everything. Pay close attention to coins that, despite being dirty, retain strong detail and minimal damage. Grading services can help authenticate and grade higher quality examples, which increases value dramatically. Look for coins with attractive luster, fewer contact marks, and strong strikes around Roosevelt's hair and the torch on the reverse. Searching through old coin rolls, inherited collections, or even flea markets may yield unexpected finds. The key is patience and an eye for detail, since the difference between a $1 coin and a $100 coin often lies in subtle factors of preservation and strike.
Another intriguing aspect of the 1967 Roosevelt Dime we ought to mint work is how its survival in dirty or heavily circulated condition actually adds to its narrative value. Unlike pristine examples that went straight into collections, these worn coins spent decades in everyday circulation, passing through countless hands, vending machines, cash registers, and pockets. Every scratch, stain, and patch of discoloration becomes part of its story, reflecting not just monetary use, but also the cultural and economic shifts of the late 1960s onward.
And fourthly, we're diving deep into a coin that can transform the utterly mundane into the exceptionally rare and valuable. The 1995 Roosevelt Dime with the Denver D mint mark. But not just any 1995 D dime. We are focusing on a specific, extraordinary variety that is a true giant in the modern era coin world. A coin that defies its humble appearance to command staggering prices, even in what many would call a very dirty condition. The Roosevelt Dime series began in 1946 as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had died the previous year, and his founding of the March of Dimes to combat polio. For decades, the series was seen as a workhorse coin with very little to excite collectors outside of early silver issues. The 1995 D-Dime, minted at the Denver facility, was part of a massive production run intended solely for circulation. Nobody was looking for anything special. Its collectability hinges entirely on a dramatic minting error known as a double-die obverse. This occurs when the hub that impresses the design onto the working die shifts slightly between impressions, resulting in a coin with visibly doubled design elements. On the 1995 D, this doubling is exceptionally strong and obvious, particularly in the motto, "In God We Trust," and the date, making it one of the most dramatic and sought-after modern errors. The year 1995 was a period of high-volume, technologically advanced minting. The Denver Mint was operating at peak efficiency to produce billions of coins to meet the demands of a growing economy. It is precisely within these high-speed, automated environments that errors, though still incredibly rare in the grand scheme, can and do occur. A single faulty die, created by a misstep in the hubbing process, was installed in a press and began striking coins. It's unknown exactly how many of these aerodimes entered circulation before the die was identified and pulled from production, but the number is believed to be very low. This accident of modern minting, a ghost in the machine, created a coin that was completely overlooked by millions of people who simply spent it without a second glance. When you examine the obverse of a genuine 1995 D double-die dime, the doubling is unmistakable even to the untrained eye. You do not need a magnifying glass to see it. The entire inscription, "In God We Trust," appears to have a thick, shadowed duplicate image slightly to the south and west of the primary letters. The date, 1995, shows significant doubling, particularly on the 9 and the 5, giving the numbers a blurred, almost 3D effect. The reverse of the coin, featuring the torch, olive branch, and oak branch, is perfectly normal, as the error was confined to the obverse die. This sharp contrast between a dramatically error-ridden front and perfectly standard back is part of what makes the coin so fascinating. It is a Jekyll and Hyde piece, hiding its incredible secret on one side only. The rarity of the 1995 D double-die dime cannot be overstated. While mintage figures for the regular issue are in the billions, the population of confirmed double-die specimens is extraordinarily small. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified only a few hundred examples across all grade levels. The vast majority of these, having circulated extensively, are found in grades like very fine or extremely fine. This is a coin that saw use. Consequently, finding one in a very dirty condition, covered in the grime and oxidation of decades spent in circulation, is not just common, it is the expected state for a genuine example. A pristine, mint-state example of this error would be a numismatic legend, but the true survivors are the worn and dirty coins that manage to be pulled from circulation by sharp-eyed individuals. Within the long and largely straightforward Roosevelt Dime series, the 1995 D double die stands out as the undisputed king of modern errors. It holds a position similar to the 1955 double die Lincoln cent. It is the key variety that every collector of modern coins knows and desires. Its dramatic appearance fuels immense collector demand, far outstripping the extremely limited supply. This combination creates a perfect storm in the market. It is not a coin that appeals only to dime specialists. It is a trophy piece for error coin enthusiasts, typeset collectors looking for a standout example, or anyone who appreciates a dramatic and visually obvious mint mistake. Its fame ensures that it will always be a cornerstone of any serious modern error collection. The market value for this coin is substantial, and it is crucial to understand that its worth is almost entirely tied to the strength of the doubling and its authentication by a major grading service. A raw or ungraded example, in a very dirty condition, perhaps grading good to very fine, can still command a price between $800 and $1,500, assuming it can be verified as genuine. Once professionally graded and encapsulated, the values increase significantly. An example-graded PCGS or NGC EF40 with clear doubling and heavy wear and dirt can easily sell for $2,000 to $3,000. Higher-grade specimens, even with some surface imperfections, quickly climb into the five-figure range, with the finest known examples reaching astronomical sums at auction. The dirt and wear do not destroy the value. They authenticate the coin's journey and survival. For collectors hoping to find one of these treasures, the approach must be meticulous. First and foremost, focus on authentication. The market is plagued with worthless coins that have been altered or with machine doubling, which is not a true error. Only consider coins that have been certified by PCGS or NGC. Condition is always a factor, but with this issue, the presence of the doubling is paramount. A dirty, low-grade but genuine coin is infinitely more valuable than a brilliant, uncirculated coin that lacks the error. Your best bet for acquisition is through major coin auctions, reputable coin dealers who specialize in errors, or established online marketplaces that offer certified coins. Searching bankrolls is a romantic idea, but the chance of finding this specific error is virtually zero given its extreme rarity and the fact that most were found decades ago. The 1995 D double die Roosevelt Dime is more than just a rare coin. It is a monument to fallibility in an age of precision minting. It represents that thrilling possibility that a genuine treasure can still be hidden in plain sight, passed from hand to hand for years before its true nature is discovered. Its substantial value, even in a very dirty and well-worn state, underscores the numismatic principle that rarity and demand will always trump superficial appearance. It is a coin that has a story to tell, a tangible piece of minting history that appeals equally to the new collector, dazzled by its obvious error, and the seasoned veteran who appreciates its significance within the American coinage series. This dime shows us that you truly have to examine every piece of change. But what if I told you that an even more common coin, a penny from the 1990s you almost certainly have in your pocket right now, also holds a secret error that can make it worth over $2,000. We will be breaking down that surprising find in our next video, so make sure you are subscribed and have notifications on so you don't miss it.
And at the end, we're exploring the 1966 Roosevelt Dime without a mint mark has emerged as one of the most fascinating pieces in American coinage, largely because of its hidden rarity and the cultural weight it carries within the numismatic community. At first glance, it may appear to be just another dime from pocket change, often discovered in very dirty or heavily circulated condition. Yet, collectors and investors alike have begun to recognize that this coin represents far more than face value. It is a hidden treasure, a subtle marker of history, and a collectible that commands respect in ways few modern-era coins can. Unlike many circulation issues of its time, this dime has transcended its ordinary function as currency and found a place among the most pursued coins of its denomination. The historical backdrop of the 1966 Roosevelt dime makes it particularly symbolic. Produced during a decade of immense social and political change, the coin reflected an America caught between tradition and modernization. Although 1966 itself was not a bicentennial year, the period foreshadowed the nation's upcoming celebration in 1976, and the mint's production practices during this time were already shifting in preparation for that milestone. It marked a transitional era following the removal of silver from circulating dimes in 1965, ushering in the clad composition that defined U.S. coinage for generations to come. While the Royal Mint of the United Kingdom was simultaneously redefining coinage through decimalization overseas, the U.S. Mint was shaping its own legacy, and the 1966 dime stands as an understated representation of that moment. The artistry of the 1966 dime deserves close attention. On the obverse, the dignified profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinnock, continues to honor his legacy as the leader who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II. The reverse, displaying a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizes liberty, peace, and strength, three ideals deeply ingrained in the national identity. At 17.91 millimeters in diameter and weighing 2.27 grams, with a copper-nickel clad composition, the dime's technical specifications may seem mundane, yet the elegance of the imagery and the deliberate symbolism of the design elevate the coin beyond mere utility, transforming it into a cultural emblem of resilience and progress. Scarcity plays a defining role in the value of the 1966 Roosevelt dime. While millions were struck, most entered heavy circulation and quickly lost their original luster. Unlike some earlier silver dimes, very few examples have survived in pristine condition, making high-grade pieces exceptionally rare. Adding to its intrigue are error varieties and anomalies that occasionally surface, such as weak strikes or planchet flaws, which significantly increase collector interest. What makes this coin stand apart is that even when found in very dirty or circulated condition, it retains its desirability. The combination of historical context, design, and scarcity has solidified its status as a collectible worth far more than its face value. Market valuation for the 1966 Roosevelt dime can vary widely depending on condition. A heavily circulated piece in dirty condition may fetch only a few dollars, but the allure lies in examples that achieve higher grades or display errors. Mid-grade uncirculated coins often sell in the $1,500 to $4,000 range, while certified high-grade examples can surpass $8,000, with exceptional specimens commanding even higher prices at auction. The coin's trajectory has been strongly influenced by collector enthusiasm, which continues to grow as more hobbyists turn their attention to modern rarities. Auction houses and online platforms reflect this demand, where competitive bidding has steadily pushed values upward, reinforcing the dime's appeal as both a collectible and an investment. For collectors seeking to acquire or evaluate a 1966 Roosevelt dime, knowledge is key. Identifying genuine examples requires careful inspection of the design details, edge reading, and weight to rule out counterfeits. Collectors should also be mindful of recognized varieties and error types that can substantially enhance value. Professional grading and certification play an important role in establishing authenticity and market confidence, particularly as the coin gains prominence among investors. Even coins in dirty or circulated condition should be preserved carefully, avoiding unnecessary cleaning that could reduce value. Proper storage in inert holders ensures longevity and maintains the coin's collectible integrity. Beyond financial worth, the 1966 Roosevelt dime embodies cultural symbolism that extends its appeal. It reflects a moment in U.S. history defined by transition, where coinage itself became a canvas for national identity. The design choices echo enduring themes of freedom, resilience, and unity, making the dime not just a collectible, but a cultural artifact. In this sense, it speaks to collectors on a deeper level, serving as a tangible link to the nation's mid-century story, while also acting as a gateway into modern numismatic study. From an investment perspective, the 1966 Roosevelt dime offers compelling potential. While not every specimen commands high premiums, the demand for key modern issues has been steadily increasing, especially as younger collectors enter the hobby and expand its market base. The coin's rarity in top condition, combined with its symbolic power, makes it a strategic acquisition for long-term investors. Market cycles show that interest in modern U.S. coinage is unlikely to fade, and the 1966 dime stands positioned as a piece that can deliver both cultural satisfaction and financial appreciation over time. What ultimately sets the 1966 Roosevelt dime apart is its ability to bridge multiple layers of meaning within a single small coin, making it far more than the sum of its physical attributes. For seasoned numismatists, it is a study in transitional minting practices, showcasing the shift from silver to clad coinage and the economic realities that shaped mid-century America. For cultural historians, it is a symbol of national resilience, carrying forward Roosevelt's legacy and embedding values of liberty and strength in its compact design. And for investors, it is a reminder that true value often lies hidden in plain sight, where a coin pulled from circulation in dirty, worn condition can still embody rarity, symbolism, and future growth potential. This multi-dimensional significance is what elevates the 1966 dime from being just another coin to becoming a touchstone of numismatic study and a treasured piece of American heritage. In conclusion, the 1966 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark remains far more than just another circulation piece from the 1960s. It is a hidden treasure that has captured the attention of numismatists because of its historical importance, design significance, scarcity, and symbolic depth. Whether found in very dirty condition or preserved in mint state, it continues to attract collectors who see in it not just a coin, but a cultural legacy worth preserving. Its place in the numismatic world is secure, standing as both a collectible artifact and a sound investment that reflects the enduring story of America through its coinage.